Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, an iconic Hobart hotel has gone up in flames. Firefighters rescued 2 guests from a second-storey window at the Brunswick Hotel, spending the day battling the firing inferno. Its new managers say they're devastated, having spent months putting their heart and souls into breathing new life into the pub.
A desperate fight to save a popular pub. Firefighters called to the Brunswick Hotel at around 2 a.m. The battle to bring the blaze under control still underway hours later when those at surrounding businesses arrived for work.
It was terrifying. I knew it was Brunswick beforehand, but it was still, it's very heart-wrenching.
It was a dramatic sight, hoses snaking across Liverpool Street as the sun rose. Blue and red lights were just visible through the heavy haze. Some even left searching for shelter from the smoke.
They got stuck in the shop for probably about an hour, like all the Woolworth workers and stuff.
There were 9 people in the building when the fire broke out, including a family and 2 night managers. But 2 became trapped upstairs when the smoke became too thick.
As the officer was sizing up the incident, he noticed some people in the upper floor hanging out of the window. So they put a ladder up and quickly evacuated those people out of that area.
General Manager Darren Brown raced to the hotel early this morning, but there was nothing that could be done.
Look, it's just devastating. Now we've got 28 staff today without a job and without a home. The 2 guys have lived upstairs, one of them for up to 5 years, and that's been his home.
They're now searching for somewhere to stay.
One of the gentlemen, he's sitting around at Banjo's at the moment in tracksuit bottoms and a pair of thongs, and that's his entire world at the moment. He doesn't have anything else. Darren
and his wife had been in the process of refurbishing the hotel after the struggles faced during COVID.
Since November, we just put our heart and soul in. Every dollar that we've made in that time has gone back into rehiring staff, to putting things back together in the building.
Now this is all that's left. From above you can see the roof caved in. The Brunswick, originally built almost 200 years ago, left completely gutted.
The lower areas of the building at the rear have been totally destroyed by fire.
The section of busy Liverpool Street remaining closed throughout the day.
Due to the fire service conducting their activities here, that we don't have any pedestrian access.
It's the second major fire to tear through the building. The first was in 1926. But for now, it remains unclear what the future holds for the historic hotel.
It's gut-wrenching. Hopefully we rebuild. Hopefully we come back bigger and better with an opportunity, but it's too early to tell yet.
And Meg Sides joins us from the scene of the fire. Meg, what happens now?
Well, Kim, as you can see behind me, there's still quite a bit of activity happening down here, with this section of road expected to remain closed until at least midday tomorrow. Now, this was a scene just moments ago. Authorities are still working to try and determine the cause of the blaze. Crews stayed late into the day, still extinguishing hotspots. But attention will now turn to trying to save the historic facade. But there's still a big task ahead in that area for crews with such severe damage to the building already. Now, a meeting has been planned for impacted businesses tomorrow morning to discuss what happens moving forward. That's set to cover everything from power supply to access and the eventual reopening of Liverpool Street. But Kim, this is set to be the start of just a very long road ahead, not just for the Brunswick owners, but for the entire Hobart CBD.
Okay, thank you very much there, Meg Sides. Well, a man has been taken to hospital after a motorbike and a car collided at West Launceston this afternoon. Crews were called to the corner of Cambridge and Vaux Streets just after 1 o'clock. The motorcyclist was taken to hospital with minor injuries. Meanwhile, a person was airlifted to the Royal Hobart Hospital with serious injuries after a single vehicle crash at Strathblane this morning. Small businesses here impacted by the weekend's COVID scare shutdown will be provided financial compensation. Public Health says it's the first time it has been able to use its Check-in Tas app and put it into practice, and is standing by its precautionary measures.
A dark, empty cafe isn't something Laura Dendarian wants to see on a Monday.
We're still awaiting test results for our team, so I just couldn't physically staff the cafe today.
8 staff had to isolate, with Laura forced to make the decision to shut on Saturday after receiving a call from Public Health.
So I had to send them home, and yeah, it was quite a stressful situation for everyone because I wasn't able to be here myself because I had to isolate as well.
Fellow Launceston cafe Sweet Brew also had to close after finding out it was on the potential exposure list. 9 employees had to go home.
It was because we couldn't operate with that many staff needing to be isolated, and because it was also important for us to show due diligence and not try and put any fear out there. I think you can't be too cautious.
Both received a call from the Small Business Minister today.
She called me to let me know that there'll be support for our staff members who have lost hours and also support for the Launceston businesses or Tasmanian businesses.
Of course, we would encourage anyone that has been affected by the events of the weekend to apply, and we will support those people.
The COVID scare was brought on after a former Launceston healthcare worker tested positive for the virus 2 days after leaving the state and arriving in the UK. Public Health says it's working to rule out that the man contracted the virus while in Tasmania.
If we find, for example, that the strain that he has is not a strain that's currently circulating in Australia, that would give us evidence that he probably didn't catch it here.
And while pharmacies across the country have begun delivering jabs from today, Tasmania is still weeks away.
They've identified pharmacies where there are low vaccination rates in that area, and we believe they'll be in the northern suburbs of Launceston and Hobart and potentially Devonport. Hopefully by early to mid-August, these pharmacies will be vaccinating possibly up to 300 of the AstraZeneca vaccines a week.
Letitia Wallace, 7 Tasmanian News.
Controversial proposal to build a mining tailings dam near Rosebery will need to undergo a further assessment stage. The MMG proposal includes the construction of the storage facility and additional infrastructure around 1 kilometre from the town. Federal Environment Minister Susan Lee visited the site only weeks ago and late today confirmed the project will require the additional assessment before it can proceed. It comes after weeks of protest from the Bob Brown Foundation claiming the plan will damage the pristine Tarkine. An archaeological dig at Port Arthur is helping piece together the lives of convicts detained there. Those working at the site say what they've uncovered can not only help tell those stories, but also assist us better understand our country's foundation.
Caked with dirt, rusted over and now recovered. These are the long-lost remains of convict labour at Port Arthur.
When you talk about Convict Australia, you think about them just being sort of incarcerated and not doing much else, but it's all hinges around labour.
This dig into the workshop at Port Arthur follows others in the laundry and around the penitentiary. A 4-year archaeological project at the historical site is in its final stages.
Now we're actually looking at this convict labour in the workshops, so how convicts worked in a confined environment and how it was sort of different to what you would expect in sort of Industrial Revolution England and Australia, of course.
It's been really great to put all of these works together into a project looking at convict lives here at Port Arthur, how they were incarcerated, how they responded to their treatment.
With the goal of enriching the visitor experience at the site.
The information that we are recovering at the moment will feed into the stories that we're able to share with our visitors about what was happening here.
And better telling the story of our country's foundation.
Understanding how their day-to-day lives were lived and the skills that they brought with them and the skills that they learnt is integral to understanding about that foundational aspect of Australia.
Group tours also giving the public a chance to share in the knowledge they've dug up. The final tour running at 2:15 tomorrow. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, construction is set to begin on new visitor facilities at the Cascade Factory. With demolition of the non-heritage structures complete, work can now start on a new history and interpretation centre at the popular tourist attraction.
Which will provide a hub for the community and for researchers, for tourists to really engage with the past, present and future of this site.
The new digs at the World Heritage listed site are due for completion by December.
Let's take a look at the Cripps TSL Player of the Year votes now after round 15. Colin Garland's Super 6 goals made him the obvious choice for the votes in Clarence versus Lauderdale. Jake Hines had a blinder for Launceston, pipping Jay Blackberry and 6-goal star Braden Pitcher. And Luke Graham had a 3-vote game in the Tigers' win over North Hobart. To the leaderboard, Blackberry has regained the lead on 19 votes, one ahead of North Launceston's Jay Foon. Jake Hines, Brad Cox-Goodger, Dylan Riley and Michael Stingle round out the leaderboard. South Hobart is hoping its good run of form can see them make a late challenge for the NPL title. Saturday's 4-0 win against Riverside makes it 5 games unbeaten for the club, with the side saying it can't afford to drop points moving forward.
We knew we had to win there. And if we didn't, we were basically out of this title race. So it gives us a shot and we have to keep putting pressure on the boys above us.
South lies 6 points back from the leading Devonport Strikers, who are in a rich vein of form themselves, having beaten second place Glenorchy by 4 goals on the weekend. The Jack Jumpers have signed Will Magnay from the Brisbane Bullets and Perth Wildcats. 23 years old, with a resume including time at the NBA's New Orleans Pelicans, the Queenslander is determined to one day crack America's toughest basketball market.
I believe I'm an NBA player, so I want to be in the NBA. Obviously, there's a lot of hard work and everything goes into that, but I think I can get back there.
Magnay has also starred for Pennsylvania's Erie Bayhawks in the NBA G League, scoring a season-high 20 points earlier this year. Tasmanian MMA fighter Dan Hill's title defence has been disrupted by the nation's COVID hassles, with his bout pushed back by 3 weeks. But at 5-0 and with the UFC still firmly on his mind, Hill is adjusting ahead of his main event fight.
With a brutal chokehold on the mat, Dan Hill left Josh Togo with no option but to surrender.
That is deep, and that is it! And new! Dan Hill is the new eternal lightweight champion!
That fight in March handed Hill his maiden title, one he's now itching to defend.
I'm at some of the best gyms you can be at and training with some of the best people.
He's up against another relentless competitor, Brenton Mumford.
Brenton looking to finish this fight, and it is all over!
Like Hill's last opponent, Mumford fights southpaw and has more bouts to his name than the Tasmanian. But Hill's record remains unblemished. A win over Mumford will see him at 6-0. The only speed bump has been the fight's delay from this weekend to August 7.
I've had to pull it back a little bit last week, and then this week it's not going to be as hard, but then the next 2 weeks after that, before the fight, will be ramp it straight back up again.
Raised in Launceston, but now based in Brisbane, Hill has always had one eye on the UFC. He watched the weekend's Dustin Poirier-Conor McGregor fight with interest. As a combat specialist, he dreams of being opposite them in the octagon.
I think that I could be fighting these guys one day. So, I look at them through the TV and I'm sizing them up, like how skilled they are, thinking that, I can beat them here and there.
Beating Mumford in 4 weeks' time will give him the best chance of that yet.
Good evening. A cool day across Tasmania today. Hobart 10 degrees, Launceston reached 13, Burnie 15 and Devonport 14. Temperatures range from -3 at Lake St Clair, Ross and Ouse to our top of 16 at Low Rocky Point and Flinders Island. Pretty cold through the Derwent Valley too. Temperatures up to 5 degrees below average there. Bushy Park 7, Ouse just 6 degrees as a maximum. King Island, Wynyard, Strawn, Friendly Beaches and St Helens all 15. Low Head and Grove 14 and Lyawini a high of 5. Most of Tasmania had some cloud cover today. The cloud with the trough moving towards our west coast. A low south of WA has the cloud forming a swirl there. Onshore winds brought cloud to the eastern parts of the mainland. Tomorrow a cold front slides to our south, a high centred to the northeast, the next low south of Western Australia. The winds northwesterly at 15 to 25 knots, but to 30 knots over the northwest and southwest during the morning. Swells at 2.5 metres in western waters. A strong wind warning that's been issued for the waters between Tasman Island and Stanley, with the winds picking up from the northwest. Now for tomorrow, partly cloudy for Hobart, 13 the top, just 12 for Adventure Bay, maybe a late shower, a shower for Tarraleah, 2 overnight, a top of 10 tomorrow. Launceston, a high of 13 degrees with showers easing from Devonport, 14 the maximum, 13 the high for Bridport, a shower or 2. Burnie, a shower or 2 as well, 14 the maximum, 13 the high for Strawn, showers easing from Marrawar, 14 degrees. St Helens, 14 as well with a shower or 2, partly cloudy for Swansea, 15 the top. White mark on Flinders Island, 14 degrees. On Wednesday, a few showers, more frequent over the north and west of the state, particularly over Launceston and Burnie. Patchy light rain over the east and south on Thursday, with more persistent rain over the north again. And on Friday, showers for the north, central and western areas, just patchy elsewhere. Showers over Perth and Adelaide tomorrow. Fine weather, partly cloudy though for Melbourne and Canberra. Fine and mostly sunny for Sydney and Brisbane. Not here though, cloudy over Hobart, 9 degrees, Launceston currently 11, Devonport cloudy and 12. I love a Monday, Kim, when I can get the winning red and white tie on. Getting very tempted to break out the old red and white suit, which I thought was going to be in mothballs this year.
You must be talking about the red legs. Don't know what you're talking about. Thanks, Miller. That's all your news for now. We'll have updates throughout the night. For now, good night.